Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome here to race number 3 of the FTF Grand National Series presented by Splash and Go. STN was supposed to bring you tonight's event, but unfortunately they couldn't do it. So, Flatout Racing Network brings you the action here tonight for the Splash and Go graphics. Mountains in the background, 150 at the Auto Club Speedway. Seth Cole here in the broadcast booth. And we're breaking in a new man tonight. Joining me, no stranger to me in a commentator's booth, but a stranger to me here in a Flatout Racing Network Studios booth, Dylan Poteet. And Dylan, I mean, Auto Club, what a race to have your first debut in the commentator's broadcast booth.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a wild race. Auto Club really offers a lot right here to the table. There's going to be a lot of side-by-side racing. We're probably going to see them go 4 or 5 wide down the backstretch in these corners. So a lot of different places these guys can race at, a lot of different grooves. It should be fun to watch.
3 races so far, 3 different pole sitters, as Brian Mercurio is the pole sitter for tonight's race at the very wide 2-mile speedway. Mercurio, no stranger to winning in the FTF series. He was the defending 2019 FTF Cup Series winner over on the Enter 2003 platform, starting on pole tonight. And alongside of him, a guy that finished runner-up last week to Derek Justice at Rockingham, Blake Reynolds. This is the time of the season where drivers, when they get good finishing results, they really move up in the point stands. And because of his runner-up finish last week, Blake Reynolds now 3rd in points and obviously looking to build off of that today.
Yeah, definitely. He's probably out, definitely want to try to get a win today. I think he felt like last week he let one slip away from him, but like I said, getting good runs at the start of the season, it's always good to get your momentum going, kind of get a foundation of how your season is going and try to get going for the season. I was kind of redundant what I just said right there, but it's been a little bit since I've done this. But like I said, just get that momentum, try to get everything going in the right direction as we look forward to the rest of the season.
Of course, Derek Justice got things off the right way last week, taking the checkers at North Carolina Speedway, and that pretty much locks him into the playoffs, provided he continues to make good starts. He's the points leader coming to this race as well. Getting ready for 75 laps of racing as the green flag's out, and we're racing at Auto Club.
It won't take long for these guys to start fanning out right here. They're already going to start seeing it now. Should definitely be interesting how they start off this. Like I said, just kind of feel everything out, give each other room here.
And there's about 5 grooves in the corner in 1 and 2, but they're going to use 6 grooves over in 3 and 4, because I saw a number of drivers using that apron way down on the bottom, testing the waters there, and some of them made it work.
Yeah, that's something that they're going to definitely be trying out right here. Like I said, just trying to find a place where other drivers aren't at, just to kind of find some space, get a little bit of runs and everything. And like I said, this track is one of those places that offers a lot of different grooves and a lot of different options for these drivers, and it fits in with a lot of different driving styles as well.
All right, there, they all got single file. Everybody went down to the bottom, right down to that white line. I mean, I think obviously we got to wait a little bit till the tires warm up and they start going up to those grooves. But I mean, how high do you think they're going to go? Will we see anybody try and run like the Junior or Larson line right up against the wall, or are they going to maybe stay down in maybe the bottom 3 grooves?
I think for a little bit to start this run, I can see them definitely staying down low. Maybe further in the run, maybe when the tires start wearing off, maybe they may venture up there. But I think right now they're going to be staying toward the middle or toward the bottom. Like I said, just the tires are at their best right now, and we'll see how the tire wear is, and we may start seeing some guys venture up toward that wall.
Mercurio about maybe a half a car length ahead of Blake Reynolds. Battle right now seems to be brewing for the 3rd position. That's Corey Carpenter in the 73 making his first start of the season, trying to hold off the 40 of Dylan Alt. Michael Frisch right now completing that top 5. I kind of expected that Mercurio was going to be up near the top of the board there in qualifying. I was looking maybe to have it become a battle between him and Brandon McKissick, who was the pole sitter last week at Rockingham. They were both at the top of the board at the end of practice. Right now, McKissick running in the 6th position, and he certainly is looking for a little bit of a comeback, as last week he started P1 at Rockingham but left in 37th DNFing.
Yeah, he's definitely going to look forward to trying to change his luck this week. He really needs a good run. Like I said, it's early though. I think you can afford that, but you don't want to have that be a habit to have a couple bad races and have to play catch up in points. Definitely want to try to get some good finishes put together. I know he's definitely motivated for a good run today.
McKissick right now actually in 5th, right behind him in 6th is Shawn Butler. We actually can see the 35 this week. Last week he was a number 1 Pennzoil car, but now he is the 35 Pennzoil Ford Mustang, and
we
he's
can
coming
only
off a top
hope
5
that
run
is.
as well. Yeah, he's coming off a top 5 run last week as well, 4th place at Rockingham.
Yeah, like I said, just looks like he's had a good run so far, and I think qualifying did help a lot of these guys, just being up toward the front. If they keep your track position, that's going to be really key, I think, in this race. I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to pass, and like I said, you just want to keep your track position as much as you can. These guys that start up front, they're definitely looking good right now, early on.
Almost 3 wide look there for what would have been the 6th position. Shawn Butler, Jacob Fisher, and it was the 10 of Bailey Galinas looking to the inside, coming off 4, going down onto the apron the front straightaway. They settle it out to side-by-side now for 6th place between the 35 and the 46.
And I'm kind of looking through the grid right now, or how they're running, and I'm seeing a couple guys that started towards the middle part of the field. They actually worked their way up a few spots. Probably the biggest gainer so far. I see Derek Justice, last week's winner. Last time by he was at 16th. He started 25th, so he's already gained 9 spots early on in this race. And the other one I've noticed is back there is Phillip Krause, a couple of cars back. He started 26th. He's up to 18th. So we got a couple of guys that are finding their way up inside the top 20. Maybe a couple of players by the end of this race definitely to challenge for the win. Like I said, they're moving up quickly as we look.
Yeah, Krause, both at Daytona and last week at Rockingham, was definitely a contender. He got caught up in a late wreck at Daytona, finished 29th after running up in the top 10 most of that day. And then he also finished top 10, 10th position last week at Rockingham after spending a good portion of that race running up inside the top 5. So he's had the speed, he's had the car to be up there for good finishes. Luck just hasn't seemed to go his way in the closing stages.
Yeah, that's just part of racing. Like I said, you can have a really good car and a good race going for you, but like I said, luck is always a part of the factor, unfortunately, and if you don't got it, you don't got it. So I think Phillip's definitely looking to try to turn things around. Like I said, that bad luck can't last forever, and he's a really good little racer. I've raced with him a few times over the years, and I know he's a pretty good racer, so he'll get it turned around. Maybe today will be the start of it.
We've had ourselves an exchange for the lead. Blake Reynolds has gotten around Brian Mercurio. Dylan Alt slotting up into 2nd place. So for the moment, 29 car leads the way, and you got to think probably after the runner-up finish he suffered last week to Derek Justice, and that was with rear-end damage too. I mean, 2nd place has got to really motivate a driver a week later to try and go out and get that final position, get that checkered flag.
Oh, definitely. Blake has all the motivation in the world. Like I said, nobody ever wants to finish 2nd in a race. It's probably the worst place to finish, honestly, even more than last, at least in my opinion, because you're that close to victory. Just one car kept you from that. I know he definitely wanted to get that win, get himself locked in early on in this race, but Dylan Alt is all over that bump. He is literally into him. Oh, he's into the leader.
Wow, and Blake Reynolds trying to save it.
He's still trying to save it.
Holy cow, he must have spent the whole half-back straightaway trying to keep that car straight.
Well, I don't think he's going to appreciate that. Oh, he got hit again.
I think he said he didn't appreciate it. I think he may have gone down, made a little contact on purpose there with Alt, got him in the right rear, and might have been trying to send him up the track, but he got the worst of it.
Oh, he's still got trouble back there. He's still out of control. Look at the car back there on the outside.
I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure if he's doing this on purpose or not. Maybe trying to spin and bring out a yellow, but
something's definitely wrong right now. He's still sideways. I don't know if that's his game or if that's actually him driving.
I mean, he's drifting it through the corners right now.
But he's acting like he almost has like a tire issue or something, or I don't know what happened. Like he's just super loose.
I mean, that
was weird.
I think that he got loose off of 2 after contact with the 40, as you mentioned. I don't think he just lost momentum and then the 40 got into the back of him. But I'm a little confused about the events that transpired after that. So Dylan Alt now the race leader, and Blake Reynolds is continuing to drop back. He's just now dropped outside of the top 10.
Yeah, that's. I think he has got more issues than we know, because he's still struggling big time. I don't know if he's gotten damaged and it's affected the car from the contact with the 40 or what happened, but yeah, the car completely just changed. I don't recall seeing a car being that loose for a full lap without wrecking. Like I said, I don't iRacing very much, but that didn't look very normal to me.
and I don't want to sow the seeds, but we're only 10 laps in. There could be a point later on this race where the 40 and the 29 are back in the same area, and we could end up seeing this little saga continue on towards the closing stages. But Dylan Alt, these are the first laps that he's led this season so far. His best finish on the year, I believe. If I recall correctly, I think he did not run at Rockingham. I think he ran back at Daytona, and I don't think he had that great a finish that I can recall. Yeah, 31st. So right now, I mean, this is the most competitive we've seen him so far this year.
Yeah, definitely. He's looking to try to gain some ground and make up some points like you were talking about. He's looks like he's probably a ways down in points. So we're definitely going to have to kind of see if he can make up some ground today. He didn't make any friends to start off this race, that's for sure. Like I said, I would be just kind of a little worried about that 29 if he sees him again. I don't know if he's going to play it very nice when we get back up there or when they interact again.
Reynolds is now dropped to the 14th position as we're looking at Brandon McKissick working his way up into the 2nd position so far. And he was about 6th or 7th, maybe 6 laps ago, so he's definitely flying to the front. I don't think there's going to be much contest here. He's going to look to the inside of Dylan Alt and maybe blow right by him.
Yeah, he had a good run coming off turn 2. He had a lot of momentum coming off that corner. I don't think the 40 got off very well if he wanted to there. And 36 definitely pulled him down the backstretch and ended up getting him on that side draft. So looks like we're going to have our 3rd lead change of the race right here as Brandon's now in the lead.
I want to bring up our track info because when we came here into the booth, we were documenting about the overcast conditions here, and you can clearly see that 84 degrees, that's actually pretty cool temperature here in California. Track temp 88 degrees. Is that playing a factor, you think, into these drivers bottom feeding and not really being willing to go up to that top side just based on the fact the track's so gripped they're just taking the shorter way around?
It could be. Yeah, and I'm surprised by the fog we have here today as well. That's definitely going to play a little bit of a factor as well. We may see it happen. I don't know if we're going to see as much as we probably anticipated, but I think right now the best way around is definitely, like you said, on the bottom. And I just wanted to make one note real quick. I noticed that Corey Carpenter is off track. He's 10 laps down. It looks like he lost connection or something. I just wanted to point that out for anybody watching. Any Corey Carpenter fans, he's currently off track. I have not seen him come back. We'll keep an eye on that and see what's going on with that car.
Tough break. He was up there in the top 5 in the first few laps of this race, and right now in the top 5, how about the 10 of Bailey Galinas? Because he kind of seemed to be running in the same tire tracks as Brandon McKissick, working their way up to the front. Now he's in the 3rd position, and looks like he may have something here for the top 2 with the lap times he's running.
I see he's running a Noah Gregson paint scheme as well, maybe hoping for some good luck like Noah had at Daytona in the Xfinity Series. Maybe bring him some luck here at Auto Club, and he looks like he's moved up since the beginning of the race from 9th position, so he's gained a few spots right here. So like I said, we have some comers and goers for sure. Very interesting to see how everybody's running this. Like I said, we're starting to see I think the people better on the long runs moving their way up toward the front. Like I said, those 2 people I mentioned earlier, Derek Justice and Phillip Krause, they're right outside the top 10 right now and definitely still been the biggest movers. I think they're going to be players before we know it in this race.
I want to talk about a couple of other guys that have been pretty good here on the long run, working their way up. David Shieldhouse right now in the 7th position, and Jose Solis Jr. there as well in the 75. Solis Jr. last week finishing 3rd at Rockingham. He comes into this race as a result up in the 11th position in point, or sorry, 10th rather. Shieldhouse right now in 9th, so I mean both of them looking really good as far as long run speed in those Mustangs.
Oh yeah, definitely. They've been biding their time right now, and they're just kind of working their way up, just kind of keeping it cool and easy right here. I see Tyler Clayball right behind him as well. He's still hanging around the top 10. I know I talked to him before. He actually really likes this track. Maybe it depends on certain days. Depends. Sometimes he doesn't, sometimes he does. But that McDonald's Chevy looks like he's pretty fast right behind him as well, having a good run in the top 10.
Definitely comes into this race currently in the 17th position in points, so a good day today could put him up inside of the top 16, which is what all these drivers are, the top 12. That's what all these drivers are shooting for to make it into the playoffs. And, we talked about Derek Justice right now. There you see his Baskin-Robbins Supra just at the tail end of this line, looking to the inside now of Ryan Williams for 11th. And you got to think that having the victory last week at Rockingham kind of gives him more choices coming into a track like Auto Club, maybe in terms of strategy, in terms of how aggressive he can be. I mean, it kind of gives you a little bit of leverage now for the remainder of the season, knowing you've got that one win in the bank.
And going back from previous experience with Derek, I've raced with him a few times, and I know he's not going to take it easy at all, even with the win. So he's definitely still going to go for the win. I think he can try a lot of different things, like he said, different strategies, and try to do stuff outside the box, maybe even stuff out of his comfort zone. Because like I said, he's locked in, so he can kind of go in and venture out and see what he can do. But I don't expect him to drive any less harder than he does every time when he's on the track. That car is always fast when he's driving behind the wheel. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised again if he's even up there competing for the win. Like, he's just one of those guys. Seems like he's good about everywhere he runs. I've never really seen him struggling where before in previous leagues. So he's one of those guys you just know you have to keep an eye on. And like I said, Ryan Williams right behind him, another guy I raced with quite a bit. He's another one of those guys, runs good just about everywhere. And if you put him in the right situation, he usually strikes and gets a couple wins here and there. So a couple of veterans definitely for sure in the community.
Brandon McKissick has checked out. He is a little less than a second ahead of this mayhem for the second place on back. Dylan Alt in this mix, along with Bailey Galinas, Shawn Butler, and Jacob Fisher. They've been mixing it up quite a bit for the fourth position, and that now brings Brian Mercurio, the pole sitter, back into this battle as well.
I'm not sure what happened to Brian at the start of this, because he seemed like he was fine, and then all of a sudden, like within a couple laps, he just kind of fell back. I don't know if he just didn't like the feel of his car, and he's just kind of filling everything out in traffic. And I think he's starting to kind of crawl his way back up there. As we got a battle for second, it's like Bailey is going to try to get around him, Dylan Alt right there. Got to bring a line of cars with him. He may get pre-trained here.
And really, when you consider Auto Club, it's kind of like Michigan. It's a 2-mile speedway, and a lot of fundamentals very similar to super speedway type racing, where the track and the way that it works, it's very aero reliant, very draft reliant. So you got two cars that are racing side by side, taking the draft off each other and pulling each other back. It allows the guys behind them to be able to close in and make themselves factors in that battle as well.
Yeah, the draft is definitely key. This is one of those tracks where it's so important. It's hard to kind of get away from it. You can try to break the draft, but you're at a disadvantage like this 10 car is at the front of this little field right here. Like I said, they just draft off you, and he's going to probably have the same fate as the 40 did, and he's going to get kicked to the outside here.
So far, we've been able to make it 20 laps without a yellow flag, so we have to start entertaining the ideas as we get close to the halfway point about potential green flag pit stops. Now, I'm assuming they can't make it 75 laps here on one tank of fuel, so do you think these guys are going to look to maybe split this race in half, come to pit road maybe somewhere around lap 35, maybe up to lap 40, or do you think they'll try and go as far as they can and have as fresh tires as possible in the closing stages of the race?
I think if you're up front, I feel like you're almost forced to try to keep your tire situation fine. But if your guys further in the back, or even like Derek Justice, like we mentioned, just anybody that's needing points or just trying to go for a win, they have nothing to lose but to try to do some strategy. Splitting is definitely an option out there. But I think we said mid-pack on back, you may start seeing these guys try to do this. I feel like there's a few of these guys maybe riding around right now. They're just kind of biding their time.
Well, McKissick, for the moment, continues to lead. The gap has now increased to 1.6 seconds. It's actually starting to grow to maybe 1.7 seconds over the new second-place driver, and that is Shawn Butler. He was able to get around Galinas after Galinas got around Alt for the second position. So we'll see what Butler's able to do here. It looks like he is holding just around the same pace as the race leader, that time by maybe about a tenth and a half slower. And I think that a big reason why he would be a little bit slower is he's got the 10 of Galinas behind him, which it's kind of pulling him back to the 10 rather than allowing him to break away and close in on the 36.
Yeah, definitely. I actually was kind of looking back here toward the back. Blake Reynolds, I think, who was leading earlier, he was actually, I believe, maybe on pit road or something. He's actually 2 laps down right now, and 39th position. I didn't catch him pitting, but he just flew by a couple of cars toward the back, so he must have fresh tires. I guess either he had some damage that was really affecting that car and he had to pit, or something else was going on behind that 29 car. But that was a tough race. It's early, but like I said, you don't want to get knocked back too far early in this race. And being 2 laps down, that kind of is going to hurt his situation. If we don't get any yellows, he's ultimately doomed at that point. But like I said, I guess the only thing really can watch out for with this car is if he gets around that 40 car again and see if any kind of interactions take place right there.
Yep, to answer your question, Blake Reynolds was on pit road, and also on pit road just a lap ago was the 47 of Warren Keith. So the both of them have made pit stops. Just to document as well, you mentioned Corey Carpenter is out of the race. Also out of the race is the 53 of Justin Malello. So 2 drivers at this point in time are out of the race. I believe only 2 cars are currently off the lead lap as they currently run.
Actually, the 53, he's actually still out there. I'm not. I see he has some damage there, but he's still actually out there running. I noticed there was a couple other guys on pit road. Jake Pullen was pitting. Andrew Hardcastle is actually on pit road right now. Then got Jose Solis, the junior's up there on pit road. So one of the front runners actually pitting early here. I was kind of surprised somebody up front was actually going to pit this early, but maybe, like I said, trying some different things. I think everybody's got their own agenda today for sure.
So Solis Jr., yeah, who was running up, I believe, inside of the top 10 coming to pit road. This is on lap 25, so it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be the one to stretch it out the furthest, because I don't know. We kind of have to base it off of how far these guys go as to how many laps are left to be able to calculate how far they can go on fuel. So if we're looking at the 75 of Solis Jr., with not knowing just how far these guys can go, did he pit when the fuel window opened to be able to make it the rest of the way? And if that's the case, are we looking at about 50 laps that these drivers can make it on one tank?
I'm not sure. Maybe they got some other ideas that we don't know about, but I think there are going to be some guys that are going to try to stretch it. But some of these guys, I think maybe the tires are starting to really fall off, and maybe just they want to try to gain some track position by pitting early, and maybe forcing upon other guys to pit.
And we got spin. We got a spin there. That was Brian Mercurio spinning coming to pit road, and I believe the 35 also spun with him.
Oh no, I was about to just say there was an incident a second ago,
Caution.
and there's a caution right in the middle of green flag pit stops. That's going to be interesting. Now these guys are already on pit road. They should pit and get their service, and they should be able to hopefully stay on the lead lap possibly, but I mean, this is going to be close.
And unfortunately, with drivers having connection issues, it's not easy to be able to pinpoint them again. But I don't know if it was the 41 and the 35 spinning coming to pit road that brought the yellow flag out, or if it was something else. But I believe the race leader after all of this is going to be the 38 of Shane Theron showing the way. And obviously he, along with about 13 other drivers, are going to have to pit this time, so they may lose track position in that regard. But at least they weren't involved in the wreck.
And the leader just took the line, so Shane came around. I don't think that many people actually are going to be trapped a lap down here. I think everybody else beat him out of pit road before he got over there. So that was a huge break for a lot of those guys on pit road just then. Not so much for a couple of the other guys toward the back. There was a few that actually pitted before then, I think are trapped possibly a lap down.
I mean, there were a lot of cars that spun out coming to pit lane here. Let's see if we can take a look at the replay here. It started with Mercurio. And I think Shieldhouse spins out here at some point. There you see there's 46 of Fisher. Shieldhouse spins, and then Fisher gets run into from behind by Krause.
There was a lot of checkups there. Yeah, there was a lot going on right there. I think it was enough for them to deem that a caution. There was a lot of action right there. It could have been a lot of debris coming to pit road. I think it was only safe to call a caution and see if we can clean up that mess. There was a lot of cars right there too, so we didn't want a lot of people wrecking. Oh man, that's crazy. I mean, it was a lodge jam. That's definitely a good reason for a caution. I mean, Kevin Mcadams spun back there too.
It's definitely a difference of transition from the banking of turn 4 coming down onto what's practically a flat apron leading to the entrance of pit road. I'm trying to think of like what could have been a contributing factor. I mean, you would have thought with the cooler conditions that with the grip that wouldn't be a thing. If the hot sun was beating out there, then absolutely it'd be slick for these guys and maybe it'd spin them out. But kind of hard to be able to figure out what it was that had them snap around like that.
Yeah, that was an interesting deal right there. Maybe it's just a treacherous pit road to come down to. Like the conditions and everything maybe made it slick down there. Just get on the brakes. Looks like about 4 or 5 cars all did the exact same thing. So it wasn't a coincidence, I don't think. There was definitely something going on right there.
I believe the race lead with all those drivers coming to pit road, I believe the race lead is going to cycle around to the 36 of Brandon McKissick. So a number of guys who came to pit road early before that caution came out, including McKissick as well as Jose Solis Jr., they remained on the lead lap. They stay out, and as a result, they're now cycling around to the front of the field.
Yeah, it's definitely going to jump up the field. It's going to be an interesting restart for sure, seeing these guys. Like I said, a lot of the guys maybe toward the back are now up front, and we got a lot of front runners going to be in the back. Some are even going to be a lap down. I just noticed also, looks like we have about 3 cars actually out of the race now. It looks like Corey Carpenter went back to the garage. Don't know if he's for sure coming back or not. And Warren Keith, who was pitting in, Andrew Hardcastle, both were on the track, and then they just both mysteriously disappeared. So it looks like we have 3 cars now off the track. Like I said, don't know for sure what happened to any of those 3, but saw a couple of them pitting there on that cycle, and then they just kind of disappeared.
And you've also got Phillip Krause, who we saw got some pretty good front-end damage after running into the back of, I believe it was Jacob Fisher. He's now multiple laps down, trying to get repairs done to his machine.
And that goes back to that luck factor. He said he's had some good cars and some good runs going, just no luck so far to start this season, and it looks like it's not going to turn around for him today. He's lost another lap, and when he gets multiple laps down, it gets to the point where you don't know if you're going to be able to make that up. So I'm not sure the 91s will be back in this race or not, unfortunately.
So the way that they're lining up right now is it looks like a number of drivers are going to take the wave around. Running, there's about 4 of them between the pace car and race leader McKissick. I believe a couple of those are Jake Poulin. I believe... I see who those other ones might possibly be. One of them looks like it could be Vincent Furlong. John Dragonetti, I believe, also. They're all trying to take the wave around here. Not certain who was the recipient of the lucky dog either, because, I mean, let's remember, that was like right in the middle of green flag pit stop, so there were a couple of guys that were a lap down. We got drivers that are taking the wave around here. There were drivers around the tail end of the lead lap. So what we do know for certain is McKissick's going to line up the leader, Solis Jr. in second. Zachary Lady, we haven't talked about him all day, and that strategy worked out for him. He's going to restart third. Derek Justice now up to fourth. Shawn Butler will be fifth, and right now the rest of the top 10 scored would be Tyler Claybaugh, Ryan Williams, Shane Theron, Andrew Schwartz, and Michael Frisch.
I actually wanted to point out something about Zachary Lady. He actually, he was almost one of those guys that actually spun coming to pit road. There was a lap, I think a lap or two before the actual caution came out, he almost nosed it into the inside wall. He actually was able to save it, so he was one of the first ones I saw having problems getting to pit road, but that could be an issue like that going forward. Now that we know these guys are having a couple of problems here and there trying to get to the pit road, we have a couple more green flag stops. I know these guys are going to be a lot more cautious now just what just happened, but that could play a factor in how aggressive you get down to pit road and try to make up any time on somebody.
And so now the question is, are these guys good to go the rest of the way? My guess would probably be yes, because we saw McKissick and Solis Jr. on front road. They were on pit road just a couple laps before that incident that brought out our cautions. So my assumption is when they came to pit road, the fuel window opened to make it the rest of the way. With everybody pitting in the last 4 to 5 laps, they should be basically racing to the checkers at this point. So you'd have to think the aggressive level is going to be kicking up here in the final 45 some odd laps of this event.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting here now that we've got a run going. A lot of these guys should know, if not all, what they got now and how far they can push their cars. So it's definitely going to be interesting what they do here. Maybe we're not going to see that outside line after all. I'm just starting to get convinced. I think it's going to be more on the bottom, and just the draft is going to play a big factor. I just noticed that Phillip Krause is actually, so he went behind the wall, unfortunately. The 91 looks like he may be done for the day. That's a tough break. It looks like another week of his unfortunate luck going on. And like I said, all you can really do is just move on to the next one and hope for the best. As we're getting ready to go back green, I think we actually took green.
Yes, we did. Green flag back in the air. 44 laps to go here at Auto Club.
And they are fanning out back here.
And I'll tell you who are starting pretty close proximity to each other back there, and that is the 40 and the 29. I almost want to drop back there and see what's going on with those two, because remember, those two got into it in the early stages of this race.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of fun to see what happens here with these two. Hopefully they don't do anything drastic here. There actually goes the tail right now.
Yes,
like
they are. There they are right there. Right now, Blake Reynolds is off the lead lap in the 35th position. Dylan Alt on the lead lap in 23rd. They're going to be side by side here coming out of 4, and looks like they're going to give each other enough room, racing there around the 81 of Ricky Collette.
We see that a lot in real life when two guys get together, how they always end up right next to each other, either in qualifying or they're pit road or on pit road together or something, or on the track. They find each other all the time. Isn't that crazy how that thing works like that?
It's like an unwritten law. You know, the guy that you always end up having a beef with, you always seem to be in the same vicinity with them the entire rest of the race.
It never seems to fail.
Well, McKissick better look in his rearview mirror. He's got new company. Derek Justice has worked his way up to second, and he's hounding McKissick for the lead.
Yeah, that may be bad news for the rest of the competition. Derek is on his mark right now. It looks like he's actually been, I think he's ran his fastest lap this last time by. I think he's really pushing it right now.
And he is looking to, well, I think he was going to look to the inside. Kessick took that line away from him, and boy, they're racing pretty good back there as well for around 7th, 8th, 9th. That's where you find Zachary Lady, Ryan Williams, Shane Thier in there. I believe that's Michael Frisch trying to go around the outside 3 wide down the back straightaway, and he's got Matt Wishart right behind him. I believe those two are teammates.
Yeah, Frisch is one of those guys. He's willing to take chances and try to do some different things. And he's a very aggressive driver, but he's a really calm and collected driver. He knows what he's doing, and he's a really experienced driver, I guess I could say. Matt Wishart, like I said, I think he's been kind of quiet this race too. He's been, I think he's been around Michael those times I've seen him. They've been kind of nose to tail like this. Looks like they maybe have found something maybe on this higher line and trying to make something work.
Couple other guys back behind them, just inside the top 15. Andrew Schwartz right now in the 12th position. There's Kyle Riley in that Outback Toyota Supra, and right behind him, Ryan Naraki, who picked up a win in the FTF Cup Series a few weeks ago at Daytona.
That was a huge win for sure. And regardless of the different series or not, that carries over, I believe, to other leagues and other series like this. A win always boosts motivation. You know, like you're always looking to try to get a win, and you're trying to find ways to motivate yourself. And getting one, it can carry over to other places. And I know that has to be showing for Ryan right now. It's showing up for having a good run right now. And
yes, I know, call us out for being biased, but we have to give a little bit of TV time to the car that we're sponsoring in this race, Bronson Stafford in the Flatout Racing Network Toyota Supra, right now running in the 17th position, having a very consistent season as Bronson as well, comes into this race 6th in the point standing, so we may not have heard the last of him in this race, as he's just inside of the top 20.
Yeah, he looks like he's been kind of taking his time too. He's about where he started this race. I think he started, looks like, on 16, so he's about where he was. Looks like he's trying to make some moves here, though. We're trying to go on the outside of Adam Codal right here. Like I said, I think it's more not about saving anymore. I think it's starting to get to the point where you're going to have to start trying to move your way up toward the front. Put yourself in a position where you have a chance to win. Like I said, there may be some still trying to look at a strategy for tires and all that. So, like I said, we'll just keep an eye on this. Bronson looks like he's starting to make a move up there. He actually gained a couple spots that lap. He's up in the top 15 now as he's going after Kyle Riley.
Looking at this battle here around the 4th position, actually make it 3rd as Clayball starts to close in on the back bumper of Shawn Butler. But I'm looking at Shane Thieren in the 38. We had McKissick come to pit road just before that caution came out. Derek Justice, Shawn Butler, they all came to pit road, I believe, on the same lap as that spin took place with a number of the leaders. But Shane Thieren came to pit road on the first lap of caution, so he's got about 1 to 2 lap fresher tires than the guys around him. Does that 1 or 2 extra laps on the rubber there, does that help you at all, do you think? Or do you think the fact that most of that caution period under pacing was what these older tires were, and that kind of canceled everything out?
I don't know if 1 or 2 laps will make a big difference. There's an outside chance it could have. I think the caution kind of played in his hand a little bit there because he was cycling around as a leader at the time. So he was actually able to kind of get a pit stop, and he actually gained, I think, a lot of ground. If Justice is going for the lead up there, he just made a bold move on the inside of McKissick right there.
McKissick tried to block him, tried to force him down there to the apron. Justice was going to have none of it.
The car pushed up right there.
Yes, it did.
He didn't have a lot of room down there.
Had to lift in the center of the corner. That lost him momentum, and that brings Shawn Butler to his inside for 2nd place. Right now, you could throw a blanket over your top 5.
Yeah, definitely. These guys are all pushing it right now. They're all after McKissick trying to get that lead. I just noticed over on the side of the screen, Dylan also looks like he is left, or at least falling out of the race right now. I don't know if there's a curse going on with the leaders. Whoever leads has a problem, because a couple of our leaders today have just definitely fallen out of contention. And I don't know what's going on with that. We got a little bit of drafting down the front stretch here.
Well, if Brandon McKissick could hear what you said just moments ago, he'd be throwing something up at the commentator's booth.
He would not be happy with me at all.
No, he wouldn't. Either that or he would drop out of the lead, say, here's somebody else lead. There's a curse here.
Tyler Clayball just made a good move right there to get under Derek Justice for 3rd, and he's actually trying to get 2nd away from Shawn Butler. Clayball's showing some speed right now in that McDonald's Chevrolet.
And right now, it's almost looking like a lot of the strategy you would think about at Auto Club has gone out the window with, trying to get the multi-grooves, trying to go right up to the wall, get that great straightaway speed, because everybody, for the most part, has been bottom feeding. So you have to kind of adjust your strategy of making passes. You have to utilize the draft more on the straightaways, and maybe you have to put the bumper to someone, push them into the corner, have them carry too much speed to be able to pass them.
Yeah, definitely. Checking around some of these lap times here, what we got. Doesn't look like we're having too much of a difference. I was looking back, a couple of guys were moving up. Looks like it's Ryan Williams and Michael Frisch. They just got around the 75 right there and both got a spot right there off Jose Solis Jr. There are a couple players that have been moving back up, and I wouldn't count that 41 back there either. Brian Mercurio, he said he came back from a spin. He looks like he's been on the move on this restart. He's closing in on the 75 as well.
Yeah, Mercurio, before the pit stops began there, I mean, he was looking like one of the top 3 best cars on the long run. You saw him fade back after starting on the pole. He fell back to about 5th and then worked his way back up to around the 2nd position before eventually taking the lead back when the 36 came to pit road. Another guy that's also working his way up into the top 10 for the first time today, and that's Kevin Mcadams in the 26. Restarted back around the 15th position when we went back green, and now he's got the top 9 pretty much within sight.
And he's been one of the biggest gainers so far today too. He started back in 28th, he's up to 10th, so he's definitely moved up. He was actually one of the cars that spun on that caution, but he was actually able to get back onto the racetrack. That could have may or may not have saved him from going a lap down. So, like I said, that pit road, it was interesting how treacherous that ended up being. I was really surprised to see that many cars spin right there, but again, it could have been a reaction to seeing Brian spin and a couple of others up front spinning and trying to avoid that, and he just locked it up and spun it. But definitely a good run for Mcadams. Like I say, he's worked way up here. Usually another consistent driver you see here and there coming around and go challenge for wins. He's usually one of those guys that comes up late in races. He'll come up there and be there. May you not be surprised to see that 26 up there toward the end of this race.
Well, right now, Derek Justice, last week's winner, going after McKissick, last week's pole sitter. And how great of a sense of urgency does Justice have right now to try and pass McKissick, knowing that, you know, if we go green to the end, there's still 33 laps you've got to make here. I mean, I don't know how much tire wear there is with the cool track conditions, but you got to think the car's going to handle better in the early run than it is on the longer run.
Oh yeah, definitely, but you don't want to push your car too much where it gets to the point your car starts pushing and you lose the handle on that car. It's all about being consistent here, but I feel like he's been a little bit faster than the 36, but he's just done a really good job holding off Justice. Brandon's just, like I said, he's been able to control this field and kind of stop those runs that he's got to get off that draft. He's doing a great job out front, but like I said, Derek's a handle. I'm sure trying to keep him behind him. That 31's been really fast.
And of course, for Derek Justice, you know, obviously with the win last week, would love to continue to win. And why would he like to continue to win? Because you get to the end of the regular season, the playoff points get reformatted, wins count towards bonus points. And so he wants to rack up as many playoff points as he possibly can.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, there's no reason to not be greedy when you can try because there's points and they're out there for you to take. So definitely would like to do that, but I wouldn't count on some of these guys behind him. Tyler Clayball, he's been moving up. He's had a good run so far. He's running in 3rd, and then you see Shawn Butler. He's been up there, I believe, in the top 10 like Tyler has, maybe the entire race. Like I said, I think there's some guys back there just kind of biding their time in this line, like Williams and Curio, Solis, and some of these guys toward the bottom half of the top 10. They're just kind of riding. They want these guys up front to race hard and kind of burn off some tires, and maybe they can pounce after that.
I just saw some sparks off of 4. We've got a caution. I think Theron got the wall off of 4. He's still going, though, but I'm pretty sure that's where the sparks came from. He's in the 5th position, but the caution is indeed out here on lap 46. And we'll see.
Actually, looking back here, Justin Malolo has a lot of damage. Did he get caught up in something? I'm backing up trying to find it myself what happened. That kind of just happened so abruptly.
Might have possibly been 33 of Adam Kodal? Is that what I'm seeing here? Possibly.
Oh, there's a wreck up here in the grass. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Adam did spin. He got hit right there. Looks like from Nate Stewart in the 13th.
Yep, it looked like
Adam had gotten in the wall, and that's what caused it.
That's the 2 that I had seen looked like
just
were
got
involved
stuck to the
in
wall
something.
and he couldn't get off of it.
And just to confirm, it was Shane Theron that I saw get into the wall off of 4.
Let's check the damage on that car. I don't know if he got a lot of damage or not.
Well, actually, we're gonna take the
replay
replay back because I'm looking at something here. We're gonna take the replay back just before that incident, and this was off of turn 2 on the back straightaway. The 13 of Nate Stewart and the 33 of Adam Kodal. You're gonna see right here trying to side draft each other. There's contact. It sends the 13 down onto the apron, and I don't think he was all that appreciative of that, and I think that might end up leading to whatever this contact was off of turn 4. Kodal, well, no, I guess Kodal got the wall and Nate Stewart was along for the ride, so there wasn't any payback there, but 2 times that they made contact with each other on the same lap.
Yeah, that could have been a coincidence that he actually was the one that got back into the 33, but I don't think he meant to. Adam was cutting down in front of him, so I don't think that was intentional, just coincidence. It was those 2 again. Yeah, that carried over, looked like from the backstretch, though. That's interesting, though.
And everybody is on pit road. Everybody getting the fresh rubber here. We'll see if McKissick can win the battle off of pit lane. I want to go back real quickly, too, to that incident on the backstretch between Kodal and Nate Stewart. I'm shocked it took us this long, as Derek Justice wins the battle off pit road. I'm shocked it took us this long to have a side draft wreck, kind of like that, because the back straightaway here at Auto Club Speedway is so abrasive. The bumps that you go over, it moves your car like crazy. It's very difficult to hold it straight, and so with seeing how close these guys were racing side by side, I was expecting to see a lot more contact on the back stretch, and instead of it happening here as late as lap 46.
Yeah, that could have easily been a bad wreck. It's kind of crazy you actually be able to save this with all these bumps. I'm actually looking up toward the front of the field now at the pace car. Looks like Blake Reynolds is going to get back in the lead lap, so I'm curious to see if that car, if he's gotten it back to where he was early on. He's still got a long way to go, but at least he's going to be back on the lead lap, so he caught a couple breaks here. Looks like Jacob Fisher and John Dragonetti is going to also be on the lead lap as well. I hope I said the last name right. I'm sorry if I didn't.
Well, the bad news is for Blake Reynolds. Well, no, actually, he's going to come to pit road, as is Jacob Fisher.
He's not going to be.
Because I was going to say, yeah, he would get back on the lead lap, but he would have been on 27-lap older tires. So he would have had to pray for a quick caution to maybe come back down pit road, be back on the same tire sequence with everybody else. And so far, we've had 2 long green flag runs, so the odds not really in favor of that at this point. So I guess he's basically, got to come to pit road, maybe hope for a caution to get the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap. But new race leader Derek Justice winning the battle off pit road. So McKissick, who after going out in front checked out, now he's basically the hunter rather than the hunted.
That's true. I was actually checking to see who exactly was the lucky dog. Is it John Dragonetti?
I didn't think
really
so.
see
I think
word
he's
on
staying
that.
up for the wave around.
I didn't really catch to see who it was. I also want to know, I don't know if I said, Dylan Alt actually took his car to the garage. I may or may not have said that earlier, I'm not sure.
Yes, I believe you did.
Okay, so that just goes down. So we have currently, looks like we have 5 cars out of the race. Like that include Dylan Alt, Phillip Krause, Andrew Hardcastle, Warren Keith, and Corey Carpenter. We got 3 potentially a lap down. Blake Reynolds, Jacob Fisher, and Chris Edwards. I'm not sure what happened to the 54. He's trapped a lap down. And like I said, we're waiting to see. I think Dragonetti is going to be taking the wave around here. So looks like potentially we're going to have 32 cars on the lead lap. So there's still a lot of cars on the lead lap. So you really can't afford to have a problem here this late in the race. I mean, that's still a pretty bad finish to have with so many cars on the lead lap. So you really have to be careful about that. I guess some are expecting maybe less cars on the lead lap, but definitely going to be interesting. Nobody wants to have a problem here late in the race. It's going to cost them a good finish and lose a lot of points.
Yeah, you bring up the fact so many cars on the lead lap, so there's so many positions up for grabs. When we go back green, we're going to be within 25 laps to go. So with that being said, have we seen our last caution, or is this the point of the race where we start to see more and more cautions coming out?
I'm hoping not for the latter part, but it's definitely seemed like it's ramped up a lot recently. We had a long run to start. And if it hadn't been for that pit road accident, I think we would have kept that run going for a few more laps. Definitely, but he said now that we got these restarts going, there's a lot up for grabs. People are really trying to gain what they can on these restarts. This is the best time to get something going. And it looks like Dragon was taking the wave around there, so we will have 32 cars on the lead lap. Now I'm interested now to see if Justice is able to control this race now that he's gotten the lead off the pit stop. And see if he can pull McKissick back and Clayball and some of these other guys. I guess we'll have to wait and see on this restart.
This is the first time today Derek Justice has been out in front. He took the race lead back on lap 48, winning the battle off pit road against Brandon McKissick. Question is, can he hold on to it for the remainder of this race? McKissick lines up second, then it's Tyler Claybaugh in third, Shawn Butler fourth, Shane Theron right now in fifth, Then it's Mercurio, Frisch, Solus Jr., Mcadams, and Wishart. That is your top 10, but a lot of fast cars still even back there in the top 15 that we may not have really documented yet, and they may be able to get their way up here in the final 25 some odd laps of this race. I believe it's going to be exactly 25 laps when we get the green flag.
Yeah, it's go time now. There's no need to hold back now. I think everybody's gotten their last chance. Now it's time to go. If you've got something, you need to show it now.
Justice going to control the start. Green flag in the air.
Oh, 36 about to switch lanes there. I think he noticed that and went back up.
That was very smart by McKissick, because I'm pretty sure they would have called him on a lane change there before the start-finish line. Somebody, I can't remember who, got busted for that back at Daytona. And so McKissick wisely did not move down until after the start-finish line.
We're going to keep an eye on that and see if the officials are going to review that or not, just to make sure, because he started doing it. I don't know if they're going to get him for that or not.
Car on the wall back there, that is, I believe, Frisch. No, it's Wishart. Wishart in the 97 got the wall pretty good off of 2, and he's dropping like a rock.
Man, he was having a good run going to. He just cracked the top 10. That's a tough break. We're going to see if he can get back going. We saw that with the 29 car earlier. He got a lot of damage, and it really affected the handling of that race car. And we can see Wishart's really dropping like a rock. Last time by, he was in 10th. This time by, he's dropped down to, looks like, he's in 19th. Man, that's a tough break. Hopefully he can get the car, kind of get those tires cleaned up. Maybe the damage won't be that bad, but it's hard to make up some track position like that if you lose them, give them up that quickly.
Like a lot of damage on the right front of his Supra, and at a track that's so aerodynamically dependent, you need all the fenders on your race car, as Justice pulls out by almost 0.4 of a second over Brandon McKissick. McKissick's got his hands full with Shawn Butler for the second spot.
Yeah, Justice is starting to stretch that lead out a little bit. If these guys start racing up there, that's all he's wanting to see right now. Butler looks like he's definitely wanting to get around that 36. But like I said, it's all about getting that draft and getting that run. And it seems like it's been a little bit difficult to pass at some point during the race. And a lot of people had trouble getting around McKissick earlier. Justice, like I said, was lucky enough to get off the road first, and he didn't have to worry about that. But they were definitely tough in that last run for anybody to get around that 36.
Couple of guys back here, and I believe we're looking at the one right here, Josh Lawson, who tried to pull off a little bit of strategy, and I think he ended up having a pretty decent finish at Rockingham as a result. He was one of the few guys just moments ago I saw actually trying to make a second or third groove, and now he's gone back to the bottom just like everybody else right now, riding in the 13th position behind Kyle Riley. You got Bailey Galinas up there. He was up in the top 10 earlier, actually in the top 5 earlier, running in the 14th.
See Ryan Williams dropped back to 15th. I don't know what happened to him. He was up in the top 10. I don't know if he had a bad pit stop or something.
Nope, he was the first car that was stuck behind Matt Wishart when Wishart hit the wall, and so he lost a lot of momentum and a lot of positions as a result.
That's a tough break. Kind of looking back here, there's a few damaged cars back here. I know it's behind Matt Wishart. I see Will Goss has some damage to the back of his 49 car. There's the 29 again. We've been trying to document if he's making any progression back up through the field. Like Reynolds, he's actually right now still a lap down. He's in position right now to be the free pass. He's battling the 46 of Jacob Fisher and Chris Edwards in the 54. I don't see them looking for the 46. He's a couple of cars back. So if that 29 gets a caution here, he gets a chance back on the lead lap. Maybe can salvage a good finish. I think he still has a fast car. Just like I said, he's been unfortunately trapped for a couple laps down.
I mean, they're racing single file to the front, but back here, as you mentioned, this is where all the fun is right now.
Ooh.
David Shieldhouse is back here. Blake Reynolds is in this group. I mentioned Will Goss, Andy Margot, Nate Stewart, Franklin Ash. I mean, there's a lot of guys all in a very close proximity to each other.
I think somebody got in the wall back here. I think that was the 27. I may be wrong. I saw Spark. Yeah, the 27 had scraped the wall. Franklin Ash. I see Dylan Smith back there. I hadn't talked about him. Kind of surprised to see him and Cosman and SU back here. These are a couple guys I expected to be up toward the front. I'm a little surprised they're back here toward the back. I'm not sure what's going on with those two guys. I expected them to be up toward the front. Maybe just not had the handle they've been wanting for this race.
Cosman shooting right up the middle there, passing Lap Machine and also Dylan Smith for position. He just now cracks the top 20 with that move. Move back up here towards the front of the field, and we got ourselves a little bit of a battle still raging on from second on back. Right now the side-by-side battles for 6th between Jose Solis Jr. and Shane Theron.
Yeah, it seems like these guys are kind of just content to be in line right now. But like I said, you just can't let that 31 get away. That battle right now is still raging between Shane and Jose. It looks like Jose's going to get the advantage going in the corner. I think some guys have been able to figure out that second groove, but it's been tough for a lot of these guys to make it back up. Shane's trying right now on that outside, but it's just been tough right now to make a lot of passes up there. The only way really been able to get somebody off the bottom is maybe some of these guys have been utilizing a little squeeze right there and pinching them down, but you put yourself at risk of getting wrecked by them in case they slide up or they push up. So, I mean, that you have to find ways to get around people, but like I said, it just comes at a risk of possibly taking yourself out, causing them to get into you.
One of the things I've found interesting too that we really haven't seen utilized, and we saw it happening in practice, is drivers using the apron down in 3 and 4. You'd think with that being a shorter way around the track that someone might be trying to make up ground that way, but nobody has. I mean, a couple of guys were really making it work in practice, and one of them is the guy running second in McKissick, so I'm surprised he has not migrated down there and tried to see if he can make up any time on Justice utilizing that apron lane.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. I did see that quite a bit in practice before they got to qualifying, and I'm a little surprised they haven't tried it. It seems like it's almost feel like you're almost in a one curve kind of deal right here. How everybody's been racing, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if it's just something changed since practice, but it seems like a lot of guys just kind of changed their mind on it.
Well, here's a thought. Remember when they came to pit road and we saw Mercurio and a number of others spin? That was a transition from banking down to a flat. It's pretty much flat down there on the apron. I mean, are they worried that there's no grip down there because of what we saw with the pit road entry back with our first caution?
I mean, it could possibly be that. They could also, maybe some of these guys are saving it for the end of the race. Maybe they don't want to kind of show it yet. Maybe they're just kind of biding their time. It seems like the safe and easiest way around right now is this bottom groove they're in. Oh, Tyler's play ball is pushing up into Brian Mercurio right now behind their balance for 4th. That was close. And that was the deal I was talking about right there. The outside car was really close to the guy on the inside, and Tyler didn't really have a lot of room or anything to kind of recover there. And that could have been bad as we have a yellow flag.
Caution is out for the 3rd time today.
Oh, Jake Poulin is going through the grass in the front stretch. The 00. Don't know if he was involved in that. What happened if he was just avoiding?
I don't see any visible damage on that Hardy's Supra.
Oh, the 5 car has damage, I know. Does he? Oh no, it was the 13 car I was looking at. I'm sorry, there was a couple cars involved in that one. 13 to 5 were the first couple I saw that actually spun. See some damage up there on the 13. He got actually hit by, I think, Dylan Smith.
Be the second incident that Nate Stewart has been involved in here tonight. And this changes up everything because we're going to get a green flag with less than 15 laps to go now.
Yeah, I think we're going to see everybody come down pit road again. I think the tires are going to make a big difference here, so that you don't know if this may be the last chance we're getting to pit or not. Looking up here, just let me know when you're back to the replay, and I'll take a look at it.
This was off of 4, and it was the 5 of Cody Atkins getting into the wall. He came back up the track in front of Nate Stewart, and Stewart down into Dylan Smith. Now, I'm not sure how the 00 of Poulin came to be going through the grass as a result of this.
I think he saw the wreck happen. I think he ducked down. And it looks like the 009 of Vincent Furlong actually got a piece of that wreck as well. I saw him catch, I think he caught the 1 car when he got hit, or he hit the 13. He spun. Yeah, Jake was just avoiding the wreck. He just cut through the grass to avoid that. So it looks like we had about 4 cars involved in that one. I don't see a lot of damage on any of those cars. The ones I would be worried about maybe is the one hitting the, I think that was the 13 in the door.
Yep.
They may have a lot of damage, but I think the 5 had the same problem that the 33 had earlier. Because he got stuck to the wall and he couldn't get off, and he tried to save it, but he just kind of got out from under him, and unfortunately the other 3 got involved and just innocent victims there.
There you see Poulin utilizing that wide infield, almost down to the blue infield wall, but he gets through it safely and keeps his hopes alive as that moved him up into the top 20.
And I believe our outside pole sitter, Blake Reynolds, is going to be the free pass this time, right at the end of the race.
Yep, I was just going to bring that up, so it's going to be fun to see if he can work his way back up to the front, and no surprise, everybody on pit road here, nobody wants to get left out there on old tires, so let's see if Derek Justice and that 31 pit crew can get it done here on what we could call the money stop. No.
It looks like he is.
No, it was a 75 of Jose Solis Jr. getting out first.
Now, was that a 2-tire stop by the 75? I believe that was right side tires only on that discount tire Ford.
I believe you are correct. I think
Interesting.
I think the 75 and the 10 of Bailey Galinas, who comes out 3rd, both went with 2-tire strategy.
That run, I don't think that run was very long, but we haven't seen anybody try the 2 tires yet. That's going to be interesting to see how that works. I figured that would be something maybe we saw early in the race, see if that actually worked. But again, these guys are trying to get points and going for it. So it's interesting to try this right at the end of the race. I'll have to wait and see how the 2 tires hold up for the 75 and the 10.
I mean, we've had such long green flag runs in between our 3 cautions that really everybody has made the choice to come pit road and put on 4. We've not really been able to see the difference between older tires and newer tires. And 75 coming back in. No, he's staying. Okay, I was trying to figure out if maybe he might have missed his pit stall or something because he was running awfully low there on the track. Looks like the 46 of Fisher is going to take a wave around. And to answer your question, we had 13 laps between caution 2 and caution 3. So that's the difference. That's the difference of those right sides there, or those left sides rather, on most of the drivers as opposed to the 75 and the 10.
Now, do you remember how many we ran on that first run before they pitted? Was that about 25 to 30 laps?
It was right around lap 25, I think, yeah.
So that's about halfway through a run, so that's going to be interesting to see how that is with those left side tires for the 2 guys that did that. I just noticed also, it looks like the 80 car, John Dragonetti, actually is off the track now as well. He just got the free pass on the last one, and I don't know if something happened just then. He's actually dropped out. Looks like he's going to finish in about 35th position. I've noticed now Dylan Smith actually lost a lap, I guess making repairs. That was the car I was really worried about damage-wise, because he went head-on into a car, so that front end's probably messed up on the 1, unfortunately. Another one of those guys I always like to root for. Dylan always runs really strong and has a lot of bad luck that also follows him in a lot of places. I've seen some of the craziest things happen to that guy, good and bad. But by looking at that car today, the front end's been ripped off of it, and I think he just pulled it behind the wall, and it looks like he did. So unfortunately, and Vincent Furlong looks like he's also out of the race. So they must have got too much damage to repair, or maybe to be competitive. I'm not sure, but looks like we got a couple more out. So a lot of guys look like they're dropping out all at once now.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe my my scoring is incorrect, but I believe also a lap down after making some extensive repairs after getting the wall off of 2. I believe Matt Wishart has fallen off the lead lap.
Let me see. I'm not sure where he is. Let's see. He's back here. I'm gonna let it seem like cycle around. Yeah, I forgot he had a lot of damage he needed to fix.
Actually, no. Actually, I guess they are scoring him still in the lead lap.
Yeah, I think he's toward the tail end. He actually lost a few spots. He was still in the top 20, but now he's scored 26. But he needed the time to try to fix that damage, and I mean, now is better than never, so he might as well get it fixed. He didn't lose too much track position. Maybe he can make some ground back up. He looks like he was one of the faster cars earlier on in the race. Like I said, he worked his way up to about 9th or 10th, and he got unfortunately caught in the wall right there. Like I said, you have to make something happen quick, though. We're running out of laps, and it's going to get crazy here. Like I said, it's going to be about, I can say, about 11, 12 lap shootout here if we stay green.
Jose Solis Jr. on 2 tires. He's going to be the race leader. Derek Justice on 4 lines up in 2nd. The 10 of Bailey Galinas also on 2 tires is 3rd. Brandon McKissick right now in 4th. And then everybody else behind as well, also on 4 tires. Tyler Claboff 5th. Shawn Butler 6th. Michael Frisch 7th. Shane Thier in 8th. Kevin McAdams in 9th. And Brian Mercurio in 10th. We'll have to see, is this going to be the pit strategy that puts the 75 in victory lane, or can Justice pass them and go for 2 in a row? It's going to be 11 laps to go here at Auto Club to finish this thing out, and we may not have still seen our last caution of the night.
Yeah, that's still a distinct possibility. The 2 guys with 2 tires are going to be on the bottom, so that's going to be interesting how this inside line is going to be. I know Shawn Butler is going to want to go. He may even make it 3 wide here on the 10 car.
Green flag going to come out. Looks like the 75 was pretty good. Yes, he was. Very nice rolling start. Did not spin the tires. Now let's see if he can keep that track position over Justice.
Oh, they're all coming to the bottom blocking.
Justice moves low, blocking McKissick for 2nd.
This is going to be interesting coming down here.
Ooh, contact between the 35 and the 10 as they lean on each other
that
for
10 car
4th.
out of the way. And look, the lights that came on here at Auto Club on this track right here. We finally got lights.
We do have lights.
And there's going to be a lot of
it's a Saturday night fight. You need lights.
Yeah, it makes sense. Tyler Clayball just threw a slide job on the 10 car there for 5th. I don't know if his car's going to stick, though. Oh,
like
he really pushed up there.
He may get the run up the corner. Nope, the 10's back to his inside. He doesn't got the drafting help. And here comes Frisch as well as Mercurio, making it a 4-man fight for what right now is the 5th position.
And Clayball really had he knew he needed to do that move though, because that 10 car's on 2 tires and he needs to go. But he can't be held up here. Like I said, this is running out of laps. And so far, the 75 car is leading the way. If Jose's actually made the strategy work, he's still hanging on.
Tyler Clayball.
Oh, man.
Dropping now as that car got it pretty good. Solis Jr., Derek Justice in the middle, McKissick down in the bottom.
Oh, I may have jinxed the 75 there, but now we've got a crazy battle for the lead.
And look at Butler trying to figure out where he wants to go. He's going to go up the middle here with Derek Justice.
Well, I thought Jose's move was really good. I don't know, maybe it wasn't after all. It seemed like maybe the car pushed up on him because he moved to the high side and he could not get it to turn on him. Now he's going to duck back low. I wouldn't count up that 35 car. I think Shawn Butler's been holding up and everything. He's been really trying to make something happen here. And look at the 75, pushed it to 36 down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Butler was almost looking like he wanted to push Derek Justice down the back stretches. He's trying to look to the outside. Now McKissick to his inside. Justice watching this all go on behind in his rearview mirror, but very close in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, this is getting crazy up here. And this is going to be a big points day for McKissick. I think he was down a little bit in points, I believe. Like you said. So this is a huge points day for him for sure.
And McKissick did not run Daytona. Finished 37th last week at Rockingham. 58th in points coming into this one. So as you mentioned,
I think he's going to gain a few spots.
Yeah, I think so. As long
as he keeps the car in one piece, and like I said, there's still a lot of cars in the lead lap. He can still fall back to the 30s. We can't forget that for sure. You have an accident here coming even on the last lap, you may fall down to the late 20s. You don't want that.
Well, he's looking for the lead right now. He was able to get to the left rear quarter
what
panel
a run.
of Justice. He's going to stay alongside coming to the start finish line. Look at the 75 of Solis Jr. with a huge run off of Ford. He's got Butler trying to cross him over for third.
I was really surprised. I thought these 2 tires were not going to work very well, and they're still running up there. Man, they're really close to the lead. McKissick is right on the door of Derek Justice.
Almost trying to push Justice up the track, trying to take away his better exit off the corner. Justice going to clear for the moment, but I don't think McKissick is done with 6.5 laps to go.
Michael Frisch has made his way into the top 5 for the first time tonight. He just got by the 10 car. The 10 car just had a horrible turn right there. He brought Kevin Mcadams with him, and Williams is actually now falling back. Looks like the 7th. He's under attack by Shane Cherian right there for that spot, and Brian Mercurio's right there as well with Ryan Naraki.
We saw Tyler Clayball on the wall earlier. He's now fallen back to 13th, and we mentioned Blake Reynolds back on the lead lap. Lucky dog after that last caution. He's up to 19th, charging his way up, but I don't think he's got enough laps to get up here to the front.
He's definitely put on a show today. Regardless of what all has happened, he has been flying. He's actually going around the 48 here around the outside, and he's flying. It's just like I said, it's unfortunate he's not up there battling for the lead. He's back here mid-pack, but it's just part of it. Things like this happen. He got around Andy Margot right there, but like I said, the next target is Andrew Schwartz, but like I said, he's going to run out of time. He needs another yellow. Maybe he can make a few more spots up, but nonetheless, he's ran through the field like crazy. It's been a great showing for him, though. I think he'll take this week and kind of learn from what happened and maybe apply it to next week. Definitely think he should be looking for that 29 car again in the future.
Yeah, I think the one thing that he's not going to be all that pleased about, at least at this point in time, he's probably going to move at least up to maybe second in the points because Dylan Schwallenberg, the runner-up in the standings, is not in the field.
Oh, the 36 just got the wall. McKissick just kissed the wall. I had to throw it in. I'm sorry.
You had to do it.
I had to do it. He kissed it and then he smacked it a little bit.
But the bad news right now for Blake Reynolds is the guy he's trying to run down for the points lead is out in front showing the way, and he's only got 4 more circuits around. Now the question is, new second-place car, 2 tires, Jose Solis Jr. Can he get a big enough run to pass the 31?
I think he's trying to make us all a believer right now. I saw the 10 car falling back. I didn't think he was going to be up here much longer, but I think maybe a few laps went down now. Maybe the tires are even up a little bit. He's actually working in his favor now. I wasn't a fan of the 2-tire strategy. I just thought the tires made a difference, but he's making things work right now. And we got a battle for third. That 35 car has been fun to watch tonight. Shawn Butler, he's made some very drastic, quick moves around people, and he's been up in the top 5 all race. He doesn't get the win. He still gets the attaboy for how hard he drove tonight. He's ran a heck of a race in that Pennzoil Ford.
Those late slingshot moves he's making, it only seems fitting he's sponsored by Pennzoil. Very Joey Logano-esque at Auto Club.
And Kevin Mcadams back there actually got around Frisch there for 5th. He's actually going after 4th place on McKissick. Mcadams, like I'm telling you, like I said, he could be the Kevin Hart, like the closer. He shows up, you just don't see him, just out of nowhere. And there he is.
With 2.5 laps to go here, does he have the car to get up there and mix it up with Justice and Solus Jr.? Those two are still nose to tail. I don't think Solus Jr. is letting that 31 get away. I think Justice is going to have a challenge here in these final 2 laps.
I'm just amazed by Jose in that 75 car, though. Alan, the
Caution!
yellow flag is out.
Oh, can you say green,
I
white,
believe
checker?
that is overtime.
Yes, it is.
The race will be extended. We will have a green, white, checkered, because the nighttime is the right time, said a guy we all know, Larry Reynolds. I think we're about to see ourselves a Saturday night shootout.
And I believe this caution came out for the 28 of Ryan Williams.
He was having a pretty good run today. I'm not sure what happened, though.
See if we can find out. Williams had early on been running up inside of the top 15. I think he was actually up in the top 10 at one point.
Actually, no, there was another wreck. It was actually the 10 car. One of the guys took 2 tires. He was actually sideways.
Okay, so would have been Bailey Galinas.
I think he had a little bit of help going into turn 3 by the 0-2 of Ryan Araki.
See if we can. Oh, you're absolutely right.
I think they've been racing hard for that position, and I think Araki had enough of him trying to hold him up. He had 2 tires. We saw one end of the 2 tires work. I think this was the other end. It wasn't working so well for Bailey. Like I said, some of these guys were not going to put up with that. They see you have 2 tires, they want you out of the way. If they can't get you around, they're just going to move you. And that's exactly, I think, what just happened there for the 10 car.
Well, we got to look at it. We're going to quickly go back to live action because this is the interesting question. Do you come to pit road? Do you get tires, or do you stay out and maintain track position? Some drivers are coming in, some drivers are not.
But maybe the problem, though, a lot of the front runners stayed out, so it's not going to make much of a difference. It looks like a lot of the mid-pack guys on back really pitted. I think, like I said, we're going to have a lot of new players up here. Michael Frisch, he's up here. I don't think, did Kevin Mcadams pit?
Yes, I think he did.
Wow.
Yeah, he pitted along with.
I think he was in 4th place, gave up track position just then. There's going to be guys who are going to be taking 2 tires. I'm not sure if that was the move right there. I'm not really a big fan of that call right there.
Couple of front runners
for the front.
Shawn Butler and Kevin Mcadams came to pit road.
Wow. I think Butler took 2 tires, and Blake Reynolds pitted. He took 2 tires, possibly.
Yep.
No, actually, Reynolds took 4. Did
Mcadams took 4, Butler took 4, Poulin took 4.
Interesting. Oh, I guess we'll have to see what happens on this restart.
Yeah, I mean, with where it's projected, Shawn Butler's going to restart in the 19th position. I just don't see being able to make up 18 positions in 2 laps.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that call. I mean, I'm a fan of getting tires, but at the same time, if you're not going to the track and you don't have any laps left, I don't know if it was necessarily worth it. This wasn't a very long run. This was about 10 laps around that range, so I'm curious to see what happens with this restart. The 75 now has gotten over 20 laps on his left side tires. It didn't look like it was affecting that much, but now that we slowed down, the tires are cooling off once again. I don't know if that's going to hurt him on this restart. He actually took off very well, and he ran good for the first couple laps, so I guess we'll have to wait and see if those tires are still going to hold up for him and see if he has anything for that 31.
Now, I think maybe the strategy right now for Butler and Mcadams and Reynolds, they're planning that this isn't the only green-white checkered we're going to be running here tonight. And maybe they can pick up, 2, 3, 4 spots before the next caution and just kind of work their way up to the front that way. But I think right now, if you take a look at the drivers we've got here at the front, it's going to be a very interesting inside line with Justice and McKissick, with Justice being the one to control the lane. And, if we went back to the strategy there by Butler and Reynolds and Mcadams and Poulin, if this were the type of typical Auto Club race that we were expecting, where we'd see them, all fanning out different lanes of the racetrack, then I could maybe see a strategy like that working out. But the fact that everybody has been bottom feeding and really most of the passes that have been taking place have been on the straightaways, I just don't see how you're going to be able to make up enough ground to work your way to the front.
Yeah, I'm looking back. Shawn Butler, he was the first one up pit road. He scored in 19th position. See, that's what I'm starting to question that decision here. Uh, I mean, unless they think something's going to happen that we don't know, but I'm just not a big fan of that call for these guys to pit. I thought Shawn had a great chance to go for the win here on this restart, but like I said, I'm not sure. These tires maybe if you're in the driver's seat, it may be easier to make that call, and you can feel it differently for how well it is on the fresh tires. But like I said, I just feel like it was hard to give up third position, and now you're running 19th on a green-white checker situation. It just almost basically eliminates you from any chance of winning this race.
Let me throw something out here real quick. Is there a possibility that there could be some questions about fuel for these guys? I mean, they pitted 14 laps ago.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a problem. We've had a couple of yellows, and that definitely has helped the case. I don't think the front guys are going to run into that problem. Like I said, the only thing that we're really having an issue is the tire wear, but that's, like I said, I think there's enough guys out there on the same tires outside maybe the 75 being on 2 that all have equal tires, and I think they can kind of hold their own and everything. I just don't know if those guys in the back have enough time to make around, half the field to get back to the front in 2 laps. I know there's a big track and all, but like I said, I don't see it happening. But you never know. We've seen some crazy things happen in NASCAR, so.
Lights are out atop the pace car. We will get our first attempt at overtime. Justice the leader, Solis Jr. second. McKissick in third. Frisch now up to fourth. That's the highest he's run all day. Shane Theron in fifth. Mercurio in sixth. Narwaki in seventh. Bronson Stafford now breaks the top 10 in eighth. Kyle Riley as well in ninth. And first time tonight that Cosman Inosu is up in the top 10. He'll restart on the outside of row 5. Question is this our only attempt at a green-white checkered, or will it be another one in the future of these drivers? They're in the hands of Derek Justice.
I guess we'll have to wait and find out here. I think that outside is going to be interesting here. I think Frisch and Mercurio are going to be wanting to go. So here we go. Justice got a really good start.
Gonna start pulling away. McKissick wasn't really able to hang with him, but now Frisch crosses down to the bottom. We'll see if those two maybe can run down the 31 through 1 and 2.
That is what I'm waiting to see, if Frisch and McKissick can work together here to get up there. But they have to get around the 75. Them racing side by side is what Derek Justice loves seeing right now.
And right now, Derek Justice wants to see the white flag as well, because if they get back to the white, then that's going to be race over. McKissick's going to clear.
He got turned! Oh, we got a big wreck! Frisch is in it, McKissick's in it.
Cosman got a piece.
75's in it, the 20 spinning.
Mcadams
we still got a wreck.
is in.
Bullen's
Oh
in the
my
wall.
Goodness.
Kodel's in it. Ash is in it. Oh my goodness.
That's
just like that.
That's about 12 to 15 cars right there.
I think that was a bad bump down the backstretch by the 58 into the 36, and I think that's all she wrote.
There's Cosman with his damage. I'm pretty sure the 61 of Bronson Stafford's got some rear end damage. Looks like he might have gotten punted.
And wrong place, wrong time. The 41 got caught up in it. I didn't see him get spun.
There's what remains of Kevin Mcadams.
Pullen got in at Kodal.
Wow.
A lot of the guys up front, that leader's curse, I'm telling you, I may have jinxed them. I may have jinxed the 36. That leader's curse.
The entire front end of the nose is gone off of Jacob Fisher.
I think the 29 back there got some rear end damage. Somebody ran the back of him, I believe. Tyler Clayball got in it, didn't see him before.
Like Jose Solis Jr. may be calling it a night as he just pulled it down to the apron there out of turn 2. A lot of damage on his machine.
The 46 got damaged, the 69 got damaged.
That might
be
a
lot of cars that got caught up in that.
I think that's the 80 right there, just ahead of Solis Jr. of John Dragonetti, who utilized a lucky dog on a wave around to get back on the lead lap.
Well, just like that, that changed everything. Kevin Mcadams got in it. I didn't even see the 26 involved.
Yeah, he clobbered. I believe it was the 36 of McKissick.
The 10 car, Bailey Jelinas also got involved.
And let's remember that Mcadams made the choice on the last caution to come to pit road. It put him back in traffic and collected him up in this.
And that was a part I didn't even mention.
Oh, Brian Mercurio, I just saw coming to pit road. The whole front end of his car is gone. Another driver collected up in this.
Yeah, and that was a point I actually forgot to mention for those guys that pitted. That put them back in the back. That put them in a bad situation because they could have got caught up in a wreck or anything could have happened. That's exactly what happened. Even though it happened at the front of the field, it wadded up almost everybody from front to the back of the pack.
Well, I mean, this was kind of what Frisch and McKissick had to do to catch Justice. The bad news is that Supra nose just didn't seem to line up with that Chevrolet Camaro back end.
And those bumps you mentioned earlier in the race as well, going down the backstretch, those cars are hopping up and down. We saw a couple of guys, I think you said the 13 and the 33, they hit doors, simply just did that, and it almost caused a bad wreck. These two were bump driving down the straightaway, down on that bump. We're going over those, and that's all it took. Maybe just hit it at the wrong time. They hit the bump, the car got crooked, and that's all it wrote, just into the wall. Oh, Zach Lady got involved. I didn't see him in that. He's got a lot of damage. And Justin Malillo looks like he got caught. I was just to name a couple more.
I think Will Goss might have gotten a piece. I thought Cosman got involved, but he might have just skirted through.
So now, this makes it interesting at the front of the pack. Now Derek Justice is going to be fighting off like Shane Terrian, I believe how you say his name, Bronson Stafford. I thought Bronson actually had damage. He may have snuck through there with minimal damage, if any. Ryan
he got bumped from behind by Kyle Riley, and they're both right now up inside the top 5.
Yep, Ryan Araki's up here now. There's Riley. There's Ryan Williams. He's back up here. Richard Collette's up here. We haven't talked about the 81 at all. He's up in the top 10. He's up in 7th. Cosman and Neshu is up here in 8th. And Neshu, if I can say it right, I'm sorry. He's gonna be mad if I say his name wrong. Andy Margot, we haven't talked about the 48. I think he's only mentioned like once tonight. He started in the back. He's in 9th. And then Matt Wisher, we talked about him again in the wall earlier. See if he can recover. He's back to where he was earlier before he hit the wall. Maybe he can make something happen. And the first guy that pitted, Shawn Butler, is now in 11th. So now that makes things interesting. We may or may not be done wrecking. That changed my opinion big time about what just all transpired right there on that last run.
That onboard we showed you just before coming back live was on board with Shane Therian, and as we can see, he is now up in the 2nd position, and he was one of the guys that was a little bit off pit sequence with everybody else back at the beginning portion of this race. Now on the same lap as Jarek Justice as far as tires are concerned. Question is, does it take one Supra to beat another Supra? Because right now they're lined up 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, what's really intriguing is the fact that Shane and Bronson, I think, are pretty sure teammates, if I believe correct. I think they know each other pretty well. Those two may try to work together. They have an opportunity here. I don't know if they expect them to be in this situation this close together at the end, but it's a possibility. Those two may try to work together, try to catch Derek, and maybe draft somebody up around one of them, around that 31. I'm not sure, but that's definitely a possibility. The Supras actually are kind of dominating up here right now. The top 5 are all occupied by Toyota Supra. The first Chevrolets right now is Ryan Williams in 6th, and then Cosman and Neshu is in 8th, first Ford. So it's going to be interesting. I like to just see. I'm just curious about the 38 and the 61 combination here on this restart.
You're actually absolutely right. They are teammates out of Sky Motorsport. The question is, though, how do you put together a game plan when the two cars are kitty corner to each other? It's got to be a lot easier if you're lined up nose to tail, but one's on the outside, one's on the inside. How do you work together to be able to get yourself nose to tail when everybody else around you on their own different agenda?
Well, if Derek gets a good restart again, that leaves the door open for the 38 to drop down after the start-finish line. If there's a gap right there in front of the 61, he may jump down. Those two maybe nose to tail, and then we got to see what happens at that point down the back straightaway, where you really can tell if they can push each other toward the leader. I'm just kind of excited to see what's going to happen here. I'm just hoping they don't wad it up again. I want to see something happen, but looks like they have a little bit of a disagreement back there. I don't know what was going on. I was watching the 29. I don't know if they were trying to just figure out a line, or they're just kind of chatting, saying, "Hey, I'm going to wreck you." No, I'm just kidding.
Could be interesting to see here, too, because a couple of guys up in this top 5 have some battle scars after they both actually got into each other on that last caution. Rear-end damage on the back of Bronson Stafford, and front-end damage on the front of Kyle Riley. So it'll be interesting to see how those two are in getting up to speed. It's going to be Justice and Therian. That's your front row. Then Stafford, Naraki, Riley, the top 5. Williams, Collette, Anoshu, Margot. First time we mentioned Andy Margot today in 9th, and Matt Wishart in 10th. Green flag in the air, another green-white checkered attempt.
No, is he going to get down in front of Bronson? He's going to let him, or no? I don't think he didn't get a very good restart. I thought Bronson was going to try to let him in, but he was there. Okay, it didn't work like I thought it was going to, so we're going to see what happens here. Bronson can clear him quickly, which he looks like he's going to. Now, we're going to see what's going to happen with these teammates in Sky Motorsport. Can they work together to see if maybe they can help one another win the race?
Shane Therian going to try and line up as best as he can to that rumpled bumper of the 61 Supra of Bronson Stafford. Justice, meanwhile, trying to see that white flag is right now, so far, still green.
The 13 got on the wall back there mid-pack, but everybody's good. We get back to the front. Can somebody from Sky Motorsports catch that 31? I don't think they have agenda to help each other. Shane has other
No,
plans.
they don't. Therion's going to go for second. I mean, this track's so draft reliant. You thought maybe the 31 got out too far, but I think Therion and Stafford are figuring he's too far away for us now. We're just going to battle it out for the runner-up spot.
Yeah, that may be all she wrote there, that little battle between Shane and Bronson there and that straightaway issue. But Derek Justice looks like he is on his way, and I said at the beginning of the race, like I said, you never count this car out, and I think he was hungry to not just get one win this season, he wants multiple wins. He wants to have his playoff run, he wants to get those bonus points, and he's making a statement early this season. He is not here to play games, he's here to win, and win a lot.
7th at Daytona, a win last week at Rockingham. He's now a multi-time winner in the 3rd race of the season, taking the checkers at Auto Club. Derek Justice definitely saying, hey, you want a #1 seed for the playoff grid? You're looking at him.
Yeah, that's crazy. 2 wins already to start off in the first 3 races of the season. Said, putting his name out there as an early favorite, the battle for the championship, and no slouch definitely either. But congrats on Derek Justice on the win. Sky Motorsports gets a 2-3 finish today with Shane and Bronson. They kind of just showed up late in the race. Shawn Butler, that's a basketball player. He came up to congratulate right there to Derek, but yeah, that was a crazy race. Like I said, it was pretty calm at the beginning, and then it kind of picked up toward the end. Had the big wreck that kind of changed everything there on the backstretch, but nonetheless didn't really change the result who the leader was, and that was Derek Justice pulling off a back-to-back win here at FTF.
Started to see a trend here as well. Derek Justice last 2 weeks has not really qualified up where we'd expect him to, but man, he has had great race pace when it comes down to crunch time. And I think if we have to go back to a race-winning moment for him, it would have to be when he beat McKissick off pit road back, I think it was on the 2nd caution. After that, being out in front, nobody was really able to challenge him for the race lead, and he was able to lead all the rest of the way to the checkers.
Yeah, that seemed like it played a big difference in the race. He was able to do that, and he's backing up to the wall. Is he trying to do a reverse burnout?
No, this is classic Derek Justice. He did this last week at Rockingham as well. I'm not sure if this is to take a photograph or something, but he did this last week, and he's about to get killed by Blake Reynolds.
I think that was just a love tap right there.
Well,
but nonetheless, he's the winner. Actually, speaking of Blake Reynolds, I don't know if you'd ever believe it or not, this man actually finished in 10th place today and managed to get a top 10 after all that. So he still came back for a top 10.
Yeah, I mean, talk about making the most of a bad situation because he got trapped a lap down.
He was actually 2 laps down.
Yeah, got the wave around one time, got the free pass the next time. Came to pit road there on the caution leading up to our first green white checkered attempt, made it through the big wreck, and as you mentioned, top 10 run. I mean, it doesn't really get any better than that for a driver that was 2 laps down in the early portion of this race.
And I want to kind of go around and look at the top 10. I mean, that big wreck took a lot of guys up toward the front. There's a lot of people we didn't talk about much this race that all got a good run. Outside maybe Derek Justice, and we could say possibly Shane Therien and maybe Shawn Butler. I mean, everybody else kind of was surprised. Even Blake Reynolds, like I said, we didn't know if he was going to come back or not. And you saw Bronson got 3rd, Ryan Naraki 4th, and you got Ryan Williams who had his problem. He came back to get 5th. That was about the highest he was all race. Kyle Riley, Matt Wishart had his problem. He got 7th. I mentioned Kyle had his damage. Butler was actually able to get back up to 8th. But again, I wasn't a big fan of that call, but that wreck happened at the front. He could have been involved in that easily. So either way, maybe he saved himself from that situation. Andy Margot get ran in 9th. Started toward like 37th, and then you see Blake Reynolds in 10th. And there was a lot of guys that started 25th on back that actually finished in the top 10. A lot of guys that qualified out back ended up front, which is kind of crazy how that worked out. But nonetheless, crazy race for sure. A lot happened there, but it was fun, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you look back here around 11th through 20th. I mean, there's some other guys that ran pretty much most of this race around 20th to 25th, but got through that big wreck and still were able to get top 15. Shieldhouse 11th, Richard Collette right there in 12th, Andrew Schwartz 13th, Cosman Noshu up there in 14th, and Franklin Ash, who I believe was involved in an earlier incident. He was able to bounce back for 15th. Michael Frisch, William Goss, Adam Kodal, Josh Lawson, and Nate Stewart, who got involved in 2 cautions here this evening, is going to finish in the top 20. We're going to show you the rest of the finishing results here. And as we do that, we're going to bring in our 3rd place finisher here, Bronson Stafford, and get some post-race interviews with our top 3.
Absolutely.
Gonna wait for him to move in here.
User joined your channel.
There we go. We got him.
Hola.
Bronson, it's Dylan and Seth up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. A third place run for you here today. First off, I want to go back to the big wreck that took place there going into turn 3 from the back straightaway. I mean, you just barely made it through. How'd you manage to do that?
I saw them wrecking all up towards the top, and I was like, I'm just gonna go low, and then they started turning down, so I slammed on the brake. Kyle Riley got me in the back end, but it didn't throw me into the front end of it, so I just slid through the grass and kind of got lucky with it. I didn't realize how bad my back end was damaged until after the race, and I got to look at it. So I'll take a third place on that.
Hey, Bronson, it's Dylan. I know it's been a while since we chatted. I don't even know if you knew if I was here, but nonetheless, I was actually curious on the last run there. You were with Shane, and I talked to Seth during the broadcast. I thought maybe you guys had a chance to potentially work together to catch Derek there, but I thought you guys had a little bit different agenda. Do you know if you think maybe if you guys would have stayed in line and worked together, do you think you guys would have had a chance maybe to get closer to him, or was this more important, like I said, just to try to get back around him and try to stay in second?
Originally, we were just on the restart, kind of doing whatever happens through turn 1 and 2 and go from there. And he just got such a good run off of 4 that he went low of me. And honestly, even in his draft, I was losing him, so it was probably for the better. Like I was saying with the rear damage, I didn't realize how bad it was, but I was probably down about a mile an hour or two, so I really would have just hindered him. Shane did make in some ground on the last lap, so I think maybe if we had a couple more laps, we could have seen a battle for the lead. But overall, I mean, when my car is a little bit slow on the straight, I think you just got to do what you got to do for positions. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is your second top 5 of the season so far. Actually, your second third place run as well. You finished third back at Daytona. So obviously very consistent runs keeping you up there in the point standings. Does this get you the feeling that you're closer and closer to a win in the next coming weeks?
I would hope so. Winning's always difficult, especially in a league like FTF. There's so many top quality guys that run this league, and honestly, I'm just happy to have 2 third place finishes in the first 3 races. I was running decent last week too until the white flag, so just kind of it's still early in the season, so I think more important right now is just trying to establish good runs and build momentum off of that. And then if wins can present themselves, eventually they'll just happen if you're fast enough. Otherwise, top 5s, top 10s will do until championship time. So
Absolutely. Wins are important, but consistency is just as important. After your third place run tonight, we're going to turn the microphone over to you and let's do some shout outs here.
yeah, we always have Cineplex and GoPro on the car, but we were actually repping you guys this week with the Flatout Racing Network car that just got done today, actually, by Matt Muir. Paints pretty much all of my team cars, and figured would go ahead and debut it tonight since you guys ended up picking it up from STN. And huge shout out to the guys back at Sky Motorsports. Myself and Shane are the only 2 running it for this league, but we've worked really well together so far the first 3 weeks. So hope we can keep building on it.
Yeah, I mean, we looked back at the paint scheme and everything back when you were around the 20th position. I was saying maybe it's a little biased, but finishing up there in third, I don't feel so bad about it anymore. So great run for you and congrats.
All right, thanks, Seth.
Congrats, Bronson. Good race today.
User left your
All right,
channel.
let's see if we
User
can
joined
bring
your
in his teammate who finishes in second, Shane Therian, and I believe we have him. So Shane, I mean, first off, let's go back to when you had the race lead. You decided to stay out that one lap later than most of the other drivers did, and they all spun coming onto pit road, so you were able to avoid that mayhem. Put you a little off sequence there. Was there any strategic thinking going on then, knowing that you were maybe 1 or 2 laps better on tires than everybody else?
Well, I was gonna pit with them until I saw the crowd of people, and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna wreck." So I didn't, they did just that. So there wasn't really any strategy. I started 29th, and I was just hoping for a top 10. So I'll take second.
Hey Shane, this is Dylan. Yeah, you definitely did a good race today and had a good run. Just looking back at it now, I actually brought this question up to Bronson. I thought maybe since you guys are in a situation, maybe you guys could work together on that last run. I was going to see if that was something that was maybe discussed or talked about, but Bronson actually said he had a little bit of lingering damage from the big wreck and it actually kind of slowed him down. Um, but just going past that, how would you assess your race overall? Like, I felt like you had one of the faster cars. Once you got the track position, it seemed like you were able to stay up there with them. And like I said, just after that, it just seemed like you were there battling. I think you need a couple more laps. So, how would you assess your race today and how everything went?
Really good. I mean, I think I don't know about other people I raced around, but I think I was one of the best in 1 and 2. Only because I wasn't driving it in like everybody else. I'd kind of arc it a little bit, get the run off, but I I didn't get the good restart at the end. I was gonna push Bronson, but I had such a run off turn 4, and his damage is kind of like a parachute that I just went by and kind of caught Derek a little bit. I think I would have had one more lap. Probably would have got close enough to give him a nudge, but I don't know if I would have been able to pass him. But yeah, overall the race was fun. Starting 29th, driving through the field before that pit stop.
You
It
know,
was great.
when Dylan and I first came on the air, we were basically hyping Auto Club up as this multi-groove track, and we were expecting to see, drivers going 4 wide, 5 wide, using all the lanes. But then when we went green, everybody was migrating to the bottom. I think you and a few others tried that second line, and we occasionally had a third line with some 3 wide battling. But what was the contributing factors that had everybody hugging the bottom?
It mostly protection. Like I could pass people on the outside. I think that was one of the way I was driving the corner as I would brake. I used a lot of brake compared to everyone else. I would brake it, get the car down there, and I would be able to get the run off because the car would be slow enough that I could drive the outside unlike other people. I think you guys caught the battle with me in the 75, where I was holding him back for a while, and then I passed him, and he'd get right back by me. I mean, the outside worked, you just had to know how to do it. But yeah, the bottom was more of like a protection. Would just drift up the corner, they'd waste the right front. So I think that's just how Auto Club is.
Yeah, I noticed that as well because I saw you were one of the very few that I actually saw trying to run that second groove, and I actually saw you guys were able to make runs and stuff like that. We were just thinking, I didn't know if there was a lot of issues up top, or like I said, I was thinking it was more like you said, like a protection issue on the bottom. They just wanted to make sure you guys had a good, safe line. Um, he was talking about, like I said, the one groove. We saw a lot of people in practice also try to run that apron in 3 and 4. We didn't know if it contributed maybe to the pit road incident, maybe the apron being slick or something. I don't know if it really applies over in 3 like it would off of 4. Was that something that people were just testing, or did anybody think about trying that, or did you even think about trying to use the apron in 3 and 4?
I used it a little bit. I think between laps 2 and 5, you could, right when the tires are heating up, just to keep the car turning on the bottom. But in traffic, it was very hard to do because you can get a little bit squirrely and just stack everybody up. So I don't think anyone was going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, definitely a good night overall for Sky Motorsports. Your teammate Bronson came in 5th in points. You came into this race 17th in points. So obviously you're going to gain a lot of positions in the standings. We're going to turn the microphone over to you after your runner-up finish here tonight at Auto Club.
Yeah, obviously, I didn't think you guys were broadcasting. I had it up during the race, just what the cautions were and see what the leaders were doing while I was going through the field. I think my sponsor, Evil Controller, has been with me for almost 7 years now, so still an affiliate with them, still good. Sky Motorsports, me and Bronson. I missed the first race of the season, so getting back-to-back top 10s is very helpful after not being able to race the first race.
No doubt about it. Hopefully, you can carry this momentum into the upcoming weeks. That's Shane Theron, your runner-up finisher here this evening.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
And last but not least, let's bring in Derek Justice. And I believe we have him. I mean, Derek, just 1 week later, and we're talking to you again here in Victory Lane. I want to go back to what we kind of dubbed the race-winning moment, the battle off pit road between you and McKissick, and you won that battle, and after that, you were controlling the restarts. I mean, first off, how in the world were you able to cut your way up through the field? Because you didn't have the best of qualifying positions, but then you were able to fight your way up into the top 3, and that's what put you in a position to be able to have that pit stop to get the race lead.
Yeah, our qualifying effort was not the greatest. We did tag the wall coming out for our qualifying effort, so our lap was disallowed. So starting 25th, it was adventurous, but it was fun. You just have to really manage the right front on the setup this week, and when I had a strategy already planned, and when I saw McKissick, the leader, pitting on lap 25, I said, "Oh, he's splitting in thirds. I gotta pit, or I gotta, ditch my plan and stand out as long as I can, or he's gonna have a big gap." So I decided to pit with a group of people, which I normally don't want to do, but then we had a wreck on entry, and then a yellow flag came out, so it kind of saved us there. So then after that, we managed to come out fourth, and from there on out, it's just really hard racing between the leaders on whoever the leader was. It was really hard to pass, but you had to hold your ground too. So it was a lot of fun.
Hey Derek, this is Dylan, your other bluegrass friend over here. It's been a while since I talked to you, but I just wanted to ask about how the racing was up front. Like I said, it just seemed like it was like the you and McKissick definitely had a lot of good battles up front. We saw Tyler Clayball up there. We saw Jose Solis Jr. and Frisch and a couple others up there. Just explain to me, like I said, how tough was it to keep that lead once you're up front? Because I know, like I said, McKissick seemed like he was up there for a while, and you guys had a hard time getting by him. And we had spoken to other drivers about it. It seemed like you guys were picking a protective line toward the bottom. They said you guys were able to venture out, but I think it seemed like the safe and probably the quick way around. But just kind of explain how the racing was up front with those guys.
Yeah, it's just really hard to get a run on people with this tire, and of course the dynamic tracks does not work well with this tire. So basically the line does not change throughout the entire race. It's always bottom the entire race, so you can't really venture out in the second and third grooves. It's just too slow, and you just wear out your right front too much. But yeah, it's just really hard to get runs, and and the moves that I make, like I did some really defensive driving myself. I hate doing it, but you kind of have to with this tire, because as soon as someone gets underneath you, if you just get out of the groove a little bit, you just push up in the wall, and the people on the bottom got to run. So it's a lot of defensive driving with this tire, but I'm sure iRacing want to get it right, and it'll be better racing. But right now, you just got to do a lot of defensive driving with this tire. That's all.
Yeah, definitely. I actually had picked you as one of the guys, so I saw you moving up through the field. I said I was definitely keeping an eye on that 31. Like I said, you were moving through the field pretty early on, and you were in the top 10 for like in no time within like maybe 15, 20 laps. So, like I said, now you got 2 wins in the bag now. That kind of keeps your options now in future races. Maybe try to go for strategy to try to do stuff differently now if you want to. I always known you. I've raced you for a while. I know you're gonna race hard regardless, but you may not even have to do it because you've been pretty fast to start the season. So. Like I said, that kind of change your perspective and maybe what things you can do maybe in future races now that you know you have a couple wins and you're locked in.
No, the plan remains the same, is trying to win every race we go to, and just race people around you how you want to be raced.
Right.
Like I said, me and McKissick, we race a lot in official racing, so I know that if I screwed up, he'll know that I messed up. And I think I pitched him pretty hard going out in turn one. It was close racing, but I wouldn't do that if I knew he couldn't hold it. So yeah, it's just you gotta really play defensive. That's all.
Absolutely.
Well, 3 races in, 2 wins already. First multi-time winner on the season for you, Derek. And here in Victory Lane, we're going to turn the microphone over to you and let you do some shout-outs.
Yeah, obviously, shout out to y'all putting in a broadcast. I know first and foremost that's most important, and shout out Baskin Robbins, Toyota, Purely T, Splash and Go Graphics for the fantastic paint job as always, and obviously my Twitch viewers that come and support me week in week out during my official racing throughout the week, and shout out to everybody on YouTube land.
All right, 2 for 2 so far in the last 2 weeks. Gonna be shooting for 3 for 3 next week. That's Derek Justice, your winner tonight at Auto Club.
Congrats on the win, Derek.
Thank you.
User left your channel.
All right, so that is going to conclude our coverage here this evening from the wide 2-mile speedway. And Dylan, I mean, your first taste here in the Flatout Racing Network Studios booth. I mean, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a lot different than I expected. Definitely a lot of great racing, though. Like I said, we saw a lot of people make a lot of headway toward the front, like including Derek. But McKissick, you can't give him a shout out or anything. Like, we need to give him more credit for what he did today. He ran a good race. Unfortunately, didn't get the finish he resulted in that he was probably wanting. But like I said, there was a lot of guys up there that had good runs going. I wish they would have got their runs, but I mean, it was fun. There was a lot of comers and goers and a lot of good racing through the pack. And then we had a couple wrecks toward the end that kind of changed the game a little bit, but then we saw a lot of faces we hadn't even really talked about all race. They ended up getting with some good finishes. So there was a lot of different good stories, a lot of good stories, and a couple of bad ones. But like I said, that's just the NASCAR drama for you right there. You never know what's going to happen. But one thing we know for sure, Derek Justice went back-to-back today. Another win, got more points, bonus points, and definitely, like I said, stamped his name at the top of the list maybe for threats this season for the championship.
No doubt about that. Absolutely. A lot of other drivers getting some good points days, some drivers not some good points days. And, we document that it's the beginning of the season. The good finishes gain you a lot of spots in the standings. Bad finishes drop you a lot of spots in the standings. So it's really, especially at the beginning of the season, you want to get those good finishes, solidify yourself up there towards the top of the point standings. And then if you have a bad run midway point of the season, you may only drop 1 or 2 spots in the standings. It's not nearly as bad of a penalty as far as points are concerned. But that is going to conclude tonight's coverage here from Auto Club. I want to thank Dylan, obviously, for joining me here tonight. It was great having you back in the broadcast booth. We've done this before, but we've never done this in the iRacing realm. So great to be back in the commentator's booth with you. Hope everybody enjoyed this evening's event. Again, congratulations to Derek Justice on the victory. Next week and the following week, you will be having your FTF Grand National Series races over on STN, I do believe. They weren't able to do it tonight, so we filled in for them, and appreciate them allowing us to do that over here at FTF. But until next week, thanks everybody for tuning in. And once again, you've been watching another broadcast on the Flatout Racing Network.
Have a good night.